What is up? Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And on today's show, I've got a super special guest, Kalish Morrow. We are coach friends, and she's awesome. We connected, I don't even know how long ago. It's been a while, maybe less than a year, but longer than 6 months. In that time frame ish. She's got a really cool story, so just wanted to have her on, have her tell her story, and then just go from there. So welcome.
Oh, thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, this has been a long time coming. We're in that group coaching chat with all the other coaches that, very like-minded people. I know you've had some of our friends on, and then I likewise too. So yeah, it's nice that we were able to make this work and make this connection happen and riff with one another. So thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's cool that we all kind of have some type of social media thing that we collaborate on, and it's cool. We're all from like different backgrounds, different stories, different walks of life, and we all have similar mindsets on how to coach clients. So glad to have you on here.
Yeah, and definitely we'll be able to go back and forth and pull on each other's expertise so we can help our clients a lot more.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to give you the floor, tell your story, and then we'll go from there, because you have a really interesting story on how you got into coaching. So I think it can resonate with a lot of people.
All right, I'm going to try to figure out where we can really start, but to not go too far back, but my history with health myself, I had two autoimmune diseases when I was a child. One of them was juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, so it made me very familiar with having a lot of joint pain. The other one was like an inflammation of the muscles, dermatomyositis. Most people have never heard of that one before. So a lot of muscle atrophy. Created a lot of, it wasn't a fun childhood in that regard. That also then developed later on. It put me down the path of having Hodgkin's lymphoma, cancer. So fought cancer when I was 14, chemo, all of those great things too. But coming out the other end of that, though, I really realized just how much things can change in life, whether it doesn't even have to be something that's as serious as like a death sentence. Like my prognoses were always actually really good. You still have to go through the motions of it all. But something can change dramatically in your life at any given time. And that put me on the path of getting into more like extreme sports. Organized sports wasn't really my thing, as you can imagine, with all the stuff that I had going on. Like the kids didn't really want me on their baseball team. I couldn't run fast.
Kids are the worst.
Yeah. So I never really got into into organized sports in that regard, but I still wanted to go out there and be active, and then so that put me on the path of extreme sports. But that led me to becoming a skydiver. And I remember at one point just thinking how crazy of a thing that I'm doing. However, I almost died sitting on the sofa. Just not knowing that I had this ticking time bomb in my chest that was the tumor and cancer and everything that was growing. So it gave me a different, lease on life of what I wanted to do. And then I've just never really let go of that, and it's just taken on different forms. So eventually, I met my husband. We were both skydivers, but he was a backseater in the Super Hornet jet. He would come down and jump at my drop zone. That's what, like any of the airports that you would be regular skydiving, it's called a drop zone. Funny enough. But,
wow.
So he would come down and train with a team down there, and we met, and whirlwind romance and all that. So I end up in the Central Valley. We were in Southern California, but I end up in Central California at NAS Lemoore with him, and I just had to basically reinvent myself. that took on a few different things that I put my, tried my hand at, and eventually I got into politics. And ran for my city council the first time. Really fell on my ass on that one the first go round, learned my lessons, and then picked myself back up and tried it again a few years later. Won that campaign, was on city council, became mayor at some point, and
wow.
And, yeah. It is wild. It is honestly really wild and surreal to look back. I just even remember thinking during that time when I'm sitting there going like, I can't believe like these are my titles. I can't believe this is what I get to be. But it's still, I guess it just wasn't my true calling. Everything still, I still anchored a lot into like health and fitness. And even though I wasn't really good about it all the time, and I had a lot of blind spots, like I think that, you and I, we've talked about where we get these clients coming in and they think that they're doing everything right. And that's what that's what I thought was the right thing to do. But now that we know better, we're like, no, you're doing too much cardio, you're eating too little, or you're not eating the right, all of these things. So, again, like I wasn't perfect about it, but as I started digging more and more into it, I just started seeing all of the blind spots and how much the fitness industry has done us wrong, how much the doctors, medical industry as well, how much that has done us wrong too in many ways. And eventually I lost my father to cancer, and it just like that was the final straw for me. That's when I decided to go and get my certification, personal training, nutrition coach. I'm also a mindset coach now as well, because you can give everybody the best workouts and the best nutrition plans in the world. And I thought it was brilliant because they were all very sustainable. But 3 weeks in, they're usually like, "But I don't want to."
Yep.
So we have to work through the I don't want to's and really, in the most effective way possible. But that just brings me now to today, where have my business, True Grit Fitness, and being, basically I'm calling myself a lifestyle coach now because of how much extra support I'm throwing in there to basically create that structure for people that they really need to be able to get out of their own way, essentially.
That's awesome. That's an incredible story. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So how did you go from cancer to extreme sports? Like, how did you end up skydiving? How did you get to that point?
Okay, so there was a couple gateway drugs for that one. It was anything from just getting into the gym, getting into martial arts. I liked kickboxing, and then the gym I went to for kickboxing had Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm trying to think if there were people there that kind of influenced some of the other things I started doing, or if it was just some friendships. But it was just like, that was just my personality. I was just always getting out there and doing something different. I eventually found a rock climbing gym that wasn't too far from me. So nice. I started rock climbing. So that started, got me up in the air a little bit. It got me in the air. I had also already got my scuba certification. If I wanted to go back to when I was a kid, I had wanted to be an archaeologist. My mom threw a little twist in there of like, what about an underwater archaeologist? So nice. You just see like it's just kind of all over the place. I know it all made sense at the time, but yeah. But I got certified. Certified with scuba and everything when I was a teenager. And so with that, actually, that's how everything starts to tie together. Now, fast forward after that part, my mom had also decided to get certified too. We started doing some trips. And so we had like some circles, different peoples that we might go and dive with. And at some point, my mom meets this guy who was a skydiving instructor. And he, kind of throws it out there. And I remember just being terrified of the thought of doing that. Of all things, I ended up having a dream that I did it and thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, I don't... I don't think that's like a common thing for most people. Like, I'm going to have a dream and just get over a thing. Usually I think that helps like intensifies the fear. I don't know what happened, but I just thought it was a cool thing. And then 2 weeks later, I meet this guy, and he brings me in, takes me in under his wing. He teaches me how to become a parachute rigger. I started slowly getting certified, or getting my. I keep saying certified. I'm just trying to licensed. That was the term I was trying to go for. Licensed as a skydiver, and just kind of got into that whole world.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just an interesting path to go down. But I think it's also like just being open to new experiences and being willing to do things that are a little bit outside your comfort zone, or a bit outside your comfort zone. But those things really do create some of the most wild stories. And again, going back to experiences.
I'm sure. So how old were you when you started skydiving?
I was 19. Yeah,
oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I am terrified of heights. I will never jump out of a plane. Like, never.
I know. Okay, I know that you're a little older than 19, but that's what I used to think as well. Maybe you'll have a dream. It'll change for you.
I don't think so.
No, okay.
But, because I boulder, and I haven't gone in a couple months, but I, like, have rock climbed and stuff, and I'm, like, terrified of heights. Like, bouldering some of those walls. I mean, I will say my gym has taller walls than a lot of other places, but even some of those, I'm like scared if I fall. But it's like obviously a safe enough height to fall from.
Right.
So yeah, probably not in my future.
Okay, so rock climbing hasn't been a gateway drug for you. No, I think that's what it was for me.
Nope. It's like okay, this is where we're gonna stop kind of thing.
That's respectable. And I really miss bouldering myself. If I had a rock climbing gym out here, I'd be all over that.
It's fun. It's like a puzzle.
Yes.
And yeah. Cause like rock climbing, it's more of like endurance puzzle thing, but like bouldering, sometimes they're not very long. Like they're like 4 moves, but you have to like figure out how to do the moves in the right way to make it to the top.
Yep. I do miss going into the gym and just finding all of my friends laying on their back staring up at the wall. And you just know that they're doing the mental math of how are they going to do all the things and figure it out. And then I just sit there enjoying them too, because I'm like, oh, I'm working on this climb right here.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's crazy. You went from like scuba diving to jumping out of planes. So how did that help prepare you for your mayoral run and Candidacy? Or maybe I'm not saying this right.
No, no, you're right. Okay. Yeah, the candidacy and everything. That was a really interesting thing. So I find that fear can come in different forms. Like they're not all created equal. And it is true that the craziest thing is that people fear public speaking more than they fear death. Like they've done those.
Really?
Yeah, they've done those surveys or whatever, and got that feedback back. So it's really, really interesting. And I'm sure that you've heard the same thing, the same rationing, because we listen to similar podcasts that have talked about these things. But the idea behind that is that we depend on society for survival, and if we do something, say something that could affect, and we upset our society, our tribe, or whatever, we risk being exiled, which could be death. So it's like this ingrained ancestral thing for us, and that's why they think that we have that fear of public speaking. So I would literally have to be having these pep talks in my head of, you have jumped out of airplanes. I've jumped out of airplanes. I've jumped out of helicopters. I've rushed out of the back of a DC-9 before. I have jumped out of hot air balloons. And I would sit there, my chest would get super flushed, and I wouldn't be able to get my, my heart rate under control. But I would still just, kind of, it's like we talk about, like, it's just putting in the reps and getting past it. I guess that the best way that it did prepare me for that was just that I knew I was capable of so much. And that gave me that at least that confidence to override the irrational fear that is public speaking. But I think that was one of my biggest things. But the other one was purpose. And that's what I talk a lot with clients. Like going back to your identity and what is your purpose. And my purpose for then and my why was that I wanted to see my town thrive. I was a downtown business owner. We had a council and a lot of city staff at that time that were very anti-small business. And
really,
yes. Well, we had a very big box commercial center area. They catered to a lot of that. When it came to our downtown, the buildings, they're old, and it's California. So California laws, they're just really strict. I'm just going to put it that way. They're really, really strict.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yes, when it comes to their building codes. So it creates a lot of red tape, which means it creates a lot of work for the bureaucrats, for the city staff. And so a lot of them just didn't want to deal with it. It was easier just to tear down buildings than to go ahead and try to, work around this and work with citizens and stuff. So we had at that time, we had staff that was uncreative when it came to figuring out the workarounds, the road to yes. They were very difficult about that. So just seeing that, and I was getting involved with the local politics. I had gotten on our Main Street board and was, getting to know our elected officials, the city staff themselves, and just felt like everything was landing on deaf ears. Just things that felt like they were really common sense. And anyway, that really drove my why. And and quite honestly, like, I just wanted to see if I had what it took.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just why not, I guess. Why not do it? I felt like I had at least a chance. I'd been building it up, whether I intended on doing that early or not. I was just getting involved. But when I took a step back and saw how much I had built, I realized I had a really good chance and I shouldn't squander it. So I did decide to go for it then. But yeah, it was a big learning curve. But yeah, and I think I had a lot of people look at me and being like, wait, how you were a skydiver and now you're in politics? Like, they try to make that connection. I was like, I just say, like, I'm a glutton for abuse, like a glutton for punishment. That's the common thread there.
Okay. Makes sense now.
Yeah.
So what was your small business?
It was kind of a combination. I had gotten into interior design, and then but then to have a storefront, I had I made handmade soaps and stuff. So still kind of, I guess, going back to that health thing, was wanting to deliver some products that weren't chemical laden. And my kids were young too. So like when you kind of have young kids, like a lot of moms will get into that whole, like, we're going to cut all the chemicals out and just try to be, as good as we can and give our kids a really good start with that. So anyway, yeah, I was doing homemade soaps and skincare products and then kind of on the side doing interior design as well.
That's awesome. Okay. And that makes sense. So how did you go from mayor to personal trainer and lifestyle coach?
Yeah. So like I was saying, during the time that I was on council is when I lost my father. And the office that I held, it wasn't a full-time position. I mean, it felt
Mm.
like a full-time position. It really does pull you that way. But when you're making $500 a month, you can't justify it as being a paid paid
That's
full-time
fair.
position. Yeah. And I could just feel that this wasn't going to be for me. I looked at all the different things if I wanted to go into higher office or if I wanted to go like maybe be a lobbyist, something still working in politics, but it just didn't my nervous system did not resonate well with it. I was just angry all the time. Really worked up. I had a hard time just turning that off and compartmentalizing. So it just really wasn't good for my mental health. And then I guess recently now as I've gone back and kind of looked at the story of it, that's where kind of more like that lifestyle coach is coming in for me, because it's also connecting back to that identity. And I realized during that time, moving away from my family and friends, being in an area that I didn't necessarily pick out, I'm kind of living in my husband's shadow after living this really dynamic lifestyle, reinventing myself. I really lost who I was. And now it's like it's coming back like full circle, remembering who the F I was, that kind of thing. And wanting to help people and guide them in finding that for themselves as well and finding their purpose. So again, I started getting into it while I was still in office and getting my certification with it. And we knew at that point that we weren't going to stay where we were. My sister had already moved out to southern Louisiana. My mom, like basically all of our family members were scattered everywhere. But I'm really close with my siblings, but my sister has nephews, and our kids are really close. So this was an area, southern Louisiana, that we decided like this is where we really want to be. We absolutely love it out here. And I actually left I left office a few months early when we found our dream home. Just like it just came out of nowhere and was like, let's just see. And they accepted the offer. And so, they did it. And that was a whole other story too with me leaving office, but I could get into that maybe some other time.
I'm sure.
I definitely had to put my foot down though, because my fellow council members were not going to fill my seat, and that was going to basically put way too much power into some hands that were kind of going for that power grab over something. So I basically had to tell them, okay, if you won't fill my seat, I'm going to stay here. My family's going to move without me, and I'm just going to go visit them. I'll rent a couch in my district if I have to. And they didn't believe me, but I stood my ground and was absolutely going to do it. My husband wasn't happy, but he fully supported why I had to do it. But anyway. And then I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. You moved out here, left your candidacy early.
Yes. And then, and so now at this point, being able to just go full in on being a personal trainer, nutrition coach, and giving them all that support. I'm kind of leaning into a little bit of the interior design as well, because one of the things I really loved that I was learning about was just how much our environment does impact our central nervous system. There was a thing with the designs around hospital, and I'm going to blank on the name of what it's called right now. It was like I want to say environmental design, but that's not quite right. But where they were bringing in more natural elements into hospitals because they were finding that just doing that was increasing people's recovery rates and decreasing illnesses. Right? Yeah.
That's awesome.
So even just like putting elements into your home, like if you have an aquarium or you have a running water feature, like a fountain, having a fireplace, or for us, we didn't have a fireplace. I would just turn on the television. You can get like the YouTube thing where it would just completely keep running like a fireplace type of thing. But there's a reason why we get really mesmerized, and it's just still that connection that we have to nature, and it does create a very calming effect for us. And so I do believe in having a really good a good environment around you and surrounding yourself in those things. And it doesn't have to be like high end Ralph Lauren, whatever. Like you don't have to go that route. You can go to the thrift stores and find really great quality pieces to fill your home with and stuff. So it's just like it's those things that can help support people's just again the environment, but their habits. It'll influence their habits, their rituals, what they do, and so that's where that lifestyle piece has started to weave itself in. It's been a very fast evolution in the last several months as I've been relaunched my business and looking at all the things that I want to bring into what I do and feel fully expressed as well in my business.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, people don't understand how much of an impact your environment has on you. That's why, like, one of the biggest levers to pull for habits is like leaving the thing out that you need to do the habit, because you see it all the time, and that stuff affects you physiologically. Like I am very organized, like type A, clutter-free sort of person, and my husband is not. And he doesn't understand how much like clutter impacts me, and so I have to remind him, like, I'm like, I know this is crazy to you, I know it doesn't bother you at all, but like it actually makes me feel unsafe if there's like dishes out and stuff. Like it is crazy, like it's silly, but it does impact me. And so it's a huge impact. And just feeling like comfortable in a home too changes your mood. It like the colors of the walls affect your mood. People don't realize that. So that's cool that you can pull that into your coaching. Because I'm sure, well, this is kind of random, but like if somebody had bright walls all the time, then they might feel like wired or whatever. And you could be like, maybe you have a calm room that you paint blue or something.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's very true. I had a friend of mine who was very high strung all the time and decided to paint her room red because she loved the color red. I was like, this is not a color for you. You need to not do that. But yes, the color choices really do have an automatic impact on us. So you want to, I would, when I was doing interior design, I always wanted to be like, I'd focus on the feel first. How do you want to feel? And I think that just goes back to what we were talking about. So, do you want to feel calm, or do you need, like, if it's your workspace, you want to feel invigorated? Or sometimes, like for me, having it nice and calm and serene really does spur my creativity. But for other people, they might need the bright colors. So it's all it's all relative to the person. And I agree that clutter, it's like having clutter out there is also clutter for my brain. And maybe, and people will be wired differently. So, and they can compartmentalize a little bit different. So it doesn't, they're almost like blind to it. But I can say that, just to your point, if I go to bed at night, I like to not only just have the kitchen clean, but like even all the dishes that were in the drying rack, those all put away. Because when I get up in the morning, I don't want a chore. I'm going to make my coffee, and when I want to clean everything up, I want to have everything cleared so I can put the stuff out to dry. I don't want to have a chore of like putting the stuff away, or I'm stacking and playing Jenga. Like I don't want to be doing that. So it's just like, it's being able to start the day fresh again. And then we've talked about like the habits and stuff, and how much that can affect us, how much that can affect our clients when they want to revamp their habits. So yeah, take note, listeners.
Yeah. No, it's for sure important. I mean, there are some nights where you're like, I just need to not do those things, and that'll be a tomorrow problem. But for the most part, whenever the dishes are done, things are put away, and I can just wake up and make my coffee, it's a good morning.
Yep.
And because then sometimes you wake up frustrated too, like, oh man, I have to do all this stuff already right when I wake up, when all I want to do is just have my coffee.
Yes. it sets your day up really well. And I do like kind of curse myself the night before if I was feeling like that kind of like blah, like maybe tonight's not the night. And then it's the next day you're like, oh, why'd I have to do that?
Yeah. But then you make note.
Yes.
Yeah. Because then you're like, okay, I'm definitely going to do these tonight because I don't want to feel this way tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's cool. So how are you going to integrate that into your coaching? So obviously training, really important. Nutrition, really important. And most people need the basics for that sort of stuff. But how do you level it up with that?
So I've been working on a methodology. I've been playing around with that a little bit now, and I'm starting to fine tune it. But I call it the MOVE method, and MOVE being an acronym. So of course we love our acronyms, and it stands for motivate, optimize, visualize, and embody. And that basically creates that whole like all-encompassing thing. So the motivation point would be kind of that work with the around the identity, around the why. The optimization is definitely like the physiological side of everything. If we can get lab work in, that's great. But then definitely the actual movement, the exercise, looking at nutrition and hydration. So all of that's like in that optimization piece. Visualize is now like laying that laying kind of more of like that motivation, the habits, and seeing who you want to be, who you're becoming. So laying that out. And there's a lot of other modalities that go into that as well, but some visualization practices that go into that really triggers the RAS, the reticulated activation system, which is when you'll start noticing more things. And when you can start, the classic example is like the car. You buy a new car. Most people are very familiar with that one. And in case they aren't, you buy a new car and all of a sudden that car's everywhere. You see it everywhere. You used to never see it. It's not that everybody went out and bought it overnight. It's just that it has now become important to you. We will screen out a lot of stimuli because there's so much stimuli coming at us at all times. So we will screen things out. You think about it. You can always see your nose. But we don't see it until we pay attention to it. That gets screened out of our vision. So when we visualize something, when we want to see like that, it's kind of that manifestation. People think it's woo woo, but there is actually really some science in it as long as you put action behind it. But I like to think of it like if you are seeing yourself as being a healthier person, you're going to start noticing that, like if you go out to a restaurant, you're going to be like, oh, you know what? That's actually a healthier option on the menu. And that sounds delicious. So things will start to become more in your peripheral. And then the other piece is embodiment. And that part is now acting that person that you want to become. So that lifestyle support, you know what, how am I, if I am this healthy, wealthy, well-adjusted person, how am I going to go about my life? How is she going to dress? How is she going to, have her breakfast? What kind of life would she be living? And basically starting to live that life now. And that's what speeds it up. So acting before you're actually ready. So that's kind of that's the broad overview of what I'm doing and how I'm putting it all together, and then explaining what a lifestyle coach actually is.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that I'm sure it's sometimes like I say I'm like a holistic like health and fitness coach, and they're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's all the things.
Exactly. Yeah. And it really is. It's similar to that. And I think that, sometimes too, like we just have to, like, how can we highlight our differentiators? And so,
yeah.
And seeing what resonates the best for me. And I agree, like you're very much that holistic lifestyle coach. You are, you get into all of the big rocks that people need to be getting into. Whereas I still go to the gyms and I'm thinking, because I'm so in our world talking to great coaches like you and the rest of our friends and stuff. And I'm just thinking like, oh, this is so mainstream now. But then I go into the gym and I see the trainers in there and it just drives me nuts. Like they're still having them do performative exercises. I'm sure that they're not really doing as much with it when it comes to nutrition as we do. And it's just that hoorah, you've got this kind of discussions that, and they're not getting as much into the mindset work that we all do and that we're really priding ourselves on getting into.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even the hoorah like cheerleader sort of thing. It's just like, why are you even having them do that? Like it doesn't even make sense. Like some of the gym I go to, there's like they do like kind of group coaching or like there's like basically a group of women there every morning and the trainer gives them a workout. I'm like, you're doing like only back exercises for an hour plus? Like, you're going to feel fried tomorrow. That's crazy. I never do that. That's insane. Like I'm like I'm trained, like I've been training consistently for probably 14, 13 years now, and I would never do a workout like that. Like I'm going in and out 45 minutes, and they start before I get there, and they're still working when I leave. Oh. I'm like, and these women are not all like, most of them are not like jacked or anything. They're like a normal woman, like just trying to, look a little bit better, like toned, quote unquote, and I'm like, oh.
Well, and Emma, I think that's what's so important too, that we as coaches are doing our part and taking the bold moves. I am going to pat both of us on the back right now of actually putting together the podcast as well, so that we can help break through the noise, because we are still vastly outnumbered out there. There's a reason why they're still doing these things when there are far better approaches. But we have to just continue helping and breaking through the noise. And I think, I'm glad that you have the podcast and you've been fantastic with putting out regular, strong content. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and give us a pause here.
High five.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad, and I'm in a funnel too. Like I don't know. I have blinders on, like on social media, because all the coaches I follow are good coaches.
Right.
So I'm like, yes. And then I go out in real life. I'm like, what the hell is going on out there? Like people still trying like keto and like carnivore for weight loss and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, you don't need to do that. Why? Where are you getting this information from? This is like 2 years ago sort of stuff,
Right. Well, it's because their friend of a friend lost a ton of weight doing this thing, and so now that's what's going to work for them, and or it worked for them 15 years ago when they had the metabolism of a 15-year-old and not being overly burdened by all the things that we do to wreck our bodies between now and then.
Yes. And unfortunately, so your metabolism doesn't necessarily get worse, but if you're constantly doing those yo-yo diets, it does actually wreak havoc on your, I guess, not like your metabolism slows down, but body functioning, gut health. A lot of yo-yo dieting leads to gut health issues. And actually, I just had a client on board. He was like, yeah, I was kind of okay, and I was trying to lose weight and did keto, and then my gut was totally screwed up after that.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you can't just. So
you need fiber and all the other nutrients in there. Well, I guess probably the better way to put it is mitochondrial dysfunction.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I guess I'm I guess I don't want people, so no hate, or I see that a lot, like your metabolism's broken, yada yada, and it's like, no, you just like are not optimized. Like we can do like
Yeah.
some little tweaks and like fix, yeah, like your mitochondrial health and your body's assimilation of nutrients. So like when you're eating food, you're actually like using it to build muscle, get energy, fuel your body and brain, you know. And so, but yeah, I mean, essentially, like, yes, but don't worry, people. You're not screwed up. You're not broken. There's things that you can do to get healthier.
Yeah, I like to tell people like the body wants to heal.
Yes.
But we have to give it a chance to recover from all the things that we've done. Yeah, your metabolism is actually will be just fine, but it's doing all the things that you said. It's not like it's not like this broken thing. Like it's just, snapped in half and you can't repair it. If you give it all the things that it needs, of course, like acute issues or like there's some genetic thing, like of course there's the outliers, but for the general population, if you feed the body correctly, and you bring in movement and you focus on hydration, all the things that aren't sexy.
Yes.
They aren't sexy to talk about because, they want the red light therapy, they want the peptides, they want blah, 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 all these other things. But those things only work well when you have all the unsexy things done. And then you get the sexy results when you do that.
That is correct. That is, yes, exactly. That's why I always talk about them. I'm like, I'm a broken record because literally every podcast I talk about the same stuff. So people are like, okay, we get it. But like, seriously though, that peptide, like, does it work for me? And I'm like, you're not doing the other things.
Yeah.
So.
It would work for you if you did the other things. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
It's the whole like putting a Band-Aid on an X wound kind of thing. Yeah. Gotta. But yeah, I guess I should write that down. Like, we need to do the unsexy things to get the sexy thing to happen.
Yeah, I like that. You should coin that. That
I'm
should
gonna
be
write
like
that down right now. I'm making notes as we speak.
Good. So, like, I guess backtrack. Like, how did you heal from cancer, and how did you get to where you are today? I guess that's kind of like a big open-ended question, but that is like 14, cancer at 14. Like, that's crazy to where you are now.
Right. And I think, if I had all the money to run all the tests, I could probably get a lot more answers. I might look back at some of, my mom's health and my grandmother's health too. There's obviously some gut issues, because of things that were in that history and how it affected them differently. So obviously something genetically made me more prone to that is really my theory to that. And then environment, whatever you want to call it, became that trigger for setting all that stuff up. So now as I've been going down this health journey for myself of repairing things, it's still an ongoing thing. And I guess you can always argue that it's always going to be an ongoing thing. And then for some of us, it's going to be more of an uphill battle than for others. So, but rather than like sitting in that victim mentality, which I think a lot of people do, they'll sit in that victim mentality, which is also very convenient because these are now my excuses of why I can't take care of myself. I've got knee pain and I've got this or whatever, when really that should be your catalyst for why you're taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what it is for me. This is my catalyst. I know that I have to put in that extra effort to take care of myself. So I still, once in a while, I get the knee pain that comes up. I definitely, now that I'm aware of the gut health thing, I realize how much more prone to having that, even going through protocols or whatever. And no, I'm not perfect with everything I do and everything I put in my body.
None of us are.
No. And it's just knowing how to write it, later on, like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and have that crazy weekend. I know I'm going to pay for it. And then now it's like a side note to that. It's like now as I've been doing that for so long, for so many years, like I'm doing that less and less because I'm like, there's very little payoff now. There's very little reason why I want to keep doing this to myself. But anyway, but back to that. I had a ton of knee pain and joint pain in my 20s. My stuff was still, from when I was a kid, the juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, it went into remission, but I know that there was still like a lot of damage that was done to the joints during that time. I mean, you're growing, all that stuff. So, in my 20s, I would still have like knee pain, shoulder pain, whatever, because it affected pretty much all of my joints. I was really afraid of how I was going to feel in my 40s, let alone like when I'm 60s and all that. I was like, I'm going to want to die young. I'm going to want to, just because of how miserable I'm sure I'm going to be. I try to not ruminate on that, but it was just like, that would be things that would cross my mind once in a while. And even getting into my 30s, we would hit wintertime and the joint pain would come in. I could barely like squat down sometimes. So, but that's when I started learning the kind of training that you and I do now, where it's very functional strength, but lifting heavy, not being afraid to lift heavy. Granted, that's relative. Lifting heavy is relative to people. My lifting heavy is way different to my husband lifting heavy, who is like 210, whatever, 210 pounds versus my 120 pounds. So relatively speaking, but once I started doing that, and not overtraining, taking care of my body, getting enough protein in to support that muscle growth, support the cartilage, the bone, ligaments, all those things. Huge change. I can now go through the winter and stuff and not have the hip pain or not have the knee pain come in.
That's awesome.
All that stuff. So, it's definitely like, again, like going back into that why and the identity and all that, and your purpose. I want to share this with more people because I know what it's like to live in pain. I also know what it takes to get out of pain. And it's also not as difficult as people think that it actually is. Again, fitness industry and everybody has really steered us wrong in the general sense of everything.
Yes.
So just kind of being out there and hopefully reaching the people that need to hear it and that need a coach like you and I to come into their lives and help them through that.
Well, that's awesome. That's really inspiring. And I was going to ask you why your company is True Grit, but it makes sense given your story. Because to get to where you are, it requires like a lot of tenacity. And oftentimes on the forefront of these challenges, you don't see any results or benefits or anything. It's after doing it for decades that you start to see. I mean, not all things take decades. Don't want to scare the audience. But so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I was just reading Angela Duckworth's book. She's a psychologist, and she literally wrote the book on grit. But it's basically where perseverance meets passion, and that's what like true grit really is.
That's awesome. And I actually got that book. I haven't listened to it, so it's on my to-do list, and I'll push it to the front now because you mentioned it.
It's really good, especially as you've gotten more into doing mindset work and looking into motivation. There's a lot of overlap because I've been doing a lot of reading on those particular subjects, and some of the top researchers in each of their books, like they all will reference one another in these different things. So, it gives you a really like good full spectrum view and maybe some different points of view too that just really creates a robust understanding of it all. So yeah, definitely listen to it.
Will do. I'm excited now.
Yeah.
Cool. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time. This has been awesome, but I want to give you the last thing. Like, what would you like to leave our audience with? And then also plug your podcast and socials and other stuff.
All right. I guess what I would like to tell people is to act before you're ready. That is the best thing that you can do. It's not putting it off till tomorrow, till Monday, till next year, whatever. Start today. start a plan, and go before you're ready, because that is how you build the momentum that you need to reach those goals, and so that they stop feeling so out of reach. And then, yes, I have you can find me at my website is true-grit.fitness. And then you can find me on Instagram, Kalish, Kalish _Morrow, Morrow. And then my podcast is True Grit Podcast, and that is on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube.
Cool. I will plug those in the show notes, so definitely give her a follow, and hit her up if you need some help with fitness. She's awesome, great coach, or I wouldn't have her on my podcast. So
thank you so much, Emma. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, you're welcome. And if you're listening to this, you made it this far and this resonated with you, and you'd like to share the show or subscribe, please do so. It helps us help more people and get in front of more people to debunk all the crap that's out there. So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.